Parashat Korach, it's usually summertime and warm, but it's actually quite chilly today. So I just wanted to share with you an idea in the parasha. It says, "Va'ani hinne lakachti et ha'chechem halbigim mitoch bnei Yisrael." I, God, am removing the Leviim from among the Jewish people. Then he uses an interesting word. It says, "Lachem matana netunim ladonai." It doesn't say netunim hem laHashem, right? Verb netunim, as it says, for example, in Yirmiyah, it says navi lagoyim netaticha, right? It's a verb, right? Here it's referring to them as a matana. That's unusual. So you have other cases where it says netativ, I appointed him, but here what's unusual is that the Leviim are referred to as a matana, which means a gift. Lechon matena yehivin, that's ankelos. What does that mean? How can you refer to the Leviim as a gift? And why do you refer to them as a gift? Why don't you say, I appointed them? Right? Right? Netunim hemalachem. It says that. But no, it says matana. Okay. Horizontal Society, my father's book, Alav Shalom, page 59. It has an interesting discussion. How does a book become a national book? There's many great books, and there are many books written in Beruach HaKodesh. Not every book that's written in Beruach HaKodesh becomes a national book. A national book of Israel is a book that was published for the public to receive that book as one of its books. So, for example, I see a beautiful Shas, leather bound, gorgeous, beautiful. I buy it and I put it in my house. It's beautiful, and people walk in and like, wow, what a beautiful set. But I never open the book. Right, so people buy beautiful books and they don't open them. That's a very un-Jewish idea. It's a very un-Jewish idea because by us, books are meant to be read. Now let me explain to you what I mean. Let me read to you what my father writes. I said page 59 in the Horizontal Society. It says as follows. The terms used for publication of a written document are connected to the root natan. Interesting. The word natan, nun, taf, nun, is connected with publication of a book, meaning it could be a great book that for some reason Hachamim decided not to publish, but there's some books that they decided they want to publish. And that we use the word natan. Primarily, this root conveys giving, presenting, and bestowing. All right. In the function of publication, and here's the point, to present, natan, involves a dynamic process of presenting, accepting. If you're noten, there has to be mekabel. What does that mean? Okay, what is this dynamic process? So let's say I have, I don't know, I have a nice laptop. I say, you know what? It's a gift. I don't need it anymore. Just take it. Use it if you want to. Use it in good health. Gesundheit. I don't care whether you use a laptop or not. It's none of my business what you do with the laptop or don't do with the laptop. Maybe you'll use it. Maybe you'll put it in the basement. Maybe you'll throw it to the garbage. Not my business. Okay. When you receive a book, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us a book, when we receive as Am Yisrael, now we are the mekabelim of a book that was published for the nation, we have an obligation to read that book. We have an obligation to open the book and to study the book, right? Of course, a Goy can't understand this, and unfortunately, many Jews can't understand this because we live in an analphabetic society where reading is just not, it's just not. Anyway, so in the presentation during what do we call the giving of the Torah? Matan Torah, right? Matan, matana. Why? Because it's a dynamic process where God is giving us a book. Not like I gave my friend the laptop, he can put it in the basement and who cares? God is giving us a book because he expects us to receive it and to study and read it and to perform the mitzvot. Na'aseh v'nishma. So that's why the Jewish answer to Matan Torah was a very appropriate answer. Na'aseh v'nishma, right? We want to study. We want to read. That's why lo b'shamayim. It's not b'shamayim anymore because it was given to us. It was entrusted with us. And we have the right to read it, and we have the right to interpret it. That's Matan Torah. So that's a dynamic giving. So a gift, there's two types of gifts. In English, the word gift can be passive, but then there's something, a special thing that I'm giving to you. Maybe a family heirloom. So I give you a beautiful watch from my grandfather, and I give it to my son, and I say it's a special. That's different, right? So the Torah is like that. This is the omek of Lachem matana netunim ladonai la'avod et avodat ohel moed. In antiquity, slavery was common. Among the Jewish people, there was no slavery. Baruch Hashem, we are more civilized. So if among the Romans it was permissible to or acceptable to beat your slave to death because a slave has no rights, and I could be wrong, but maybe in America it was like that. I don't know. I'm not trying to condemn America at all because I don't know the facts. But let's say that was allowed. Among the Jewish people, you couldn't just beat your slave to death. The Jews didn't do that. That wasn't our mode of behavior. That wasn't acceptable. So by us, we had some sort of servitude, right? So a person works and he provides a certain service and provides a certain work, whatever it is, whether we like it or not. Nobody wants to be sold into servitude. But the idea of an Eved, now let's say Reuven owns an Eved, and he says, you know what, Shimon, I don't need this Eved anymore. I'm going to give it to you as a gift. What does Shimon do with the Eved? Honestly, it's none of Reuven's business, right? He gave it to Shimon, and Shimon can use the slave to do work, not to do work. Maybe he'll free the slave, right? He can also get shihrur and free the slave. It's none of Reuven's business because Reuven doesn't really care. He didn't need the slave. He was trying to do Shimon a favor. The Levim are not like that. They're a matana. It's like matan Torah. You have an obligation to use the Levim well, to use them intelligently. Allow me to explain. The Levim are the teachers of the Torah. They're not just regular people. So in Mitzrayim, when the Jews were avadim, right? Right? The Chachamim say, what is befarech? One of the explanations of farech is they would take a big guy, a hoof, big muscles, that you do some stitching in the garment factory. Then they take a small little man and you build that building. You have to move big stones. Why would they do this? To humiliate the individual. Because a slave, at least let him feel some pride in what he's doing. And I'm strong. Look at me, I'm picking up these boulders. You feel a little good. They wanted to humiliate the Jewish people. So part of an intelligent nation or group or system is a system that utilizes people's talents. Hashem is telling the Kohanim as follows. These Levim are special people, right? They are the teachers of the Torah to Am Yisrael. Yorum mishpatecha leYaakov v'toratecha leYisrael. These are special people. I'm giving them to you as a matana, as in Matan Torah, where you receive it and use it intelligently. In the case of the book, read it, study it, perform the mitzvot. In the case of the Leviim, use them intelligently. This is a holy group of people, right? This is a group of people that study Torah, that understands what regular people don't understand, right? So use them in an intelligent way. Let me give you an example. In a sense, you go to Knis, they have a good Chazan, beautiful voice, right? And he has and he does a nishmat in Abdul Wahab. Oh my gosh, wow, Abdul Wahab. And then he switched from Abdul Wahab to Kaltum. Oh, what a tefillah, what a nishmat. So nishmat kol chai tivarech et shimcha. You have a kilaim of Abdul Wahab, who apparently like the Jewish people, Kaltum, who I understand that particularly like the Jewish people, but make a kilaim, and this is a real beautiful tefillah. And then sometimes people sing along because they know the Abdul Wahab melody when they were kids. They had the radio, grandma had the Arabic music station on. And sometimes, if you're hearing a pismon, in a farah, in a celebration, they'll be singing this pismon, Hebrew words, right, with an Abdul Wahab melody or some other melody. But if it's a really great chazan, they'll switch to the Arabic words. They start singing the song in Arabic. What a ma'ala. That's already, not every chazan can do that. What a bunch of nonsense. I mean, what a bunch of nonsense, for lack of a better word. I mean, yes, we want to have chazanim who are good, who have beautiful voices, who know how to sing properly. But the ikar is not Abdul Wahab, Kaltum, Farid al-Atrash. Lel Murad. Oh, Lel Murad. These are words. These are words. Nishmat kol chai devarech et shimcha. Is anybody listening to the words? No, they're listening to I hear everybody. he just did this thing with Abdul Wahab, and he switched the makam. He was in makam Ajam, then he went to Hijaz. Wait, I think he did makam Zafiran. What nonsense! Just really what not? So I don't want to say anything more. I think you understand my opinion. These are beautiful words. Is the Chazan thinking about the words? Or he's thinking about the Abdul Wahab melody? Which one? Okay. The Levim, they sung in the Bet HaMikdash. They were not just singers in the Bet HaMikdash. They were not just Chazanim, right? They didn't just take Abdul Wahab melody, put it to Mizmor Te'elim, and everybody's like, whatever, Yifrach, Yaldi. Okay. The Levim were singing beautiful words of Kedusha. So here's an example. Use them. They're the ones who should be singing the songs. Because when they're singing the songs, they're not singing Abdul Wahab or Kaltoum. They might sing those melodies. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what melody you use. But the ikar is the words. What are you thinking when you're saying Nishmat Kol Hai Tevarech et Shimcha? What are you thinking when you're saying those words? You're thinking about the melody, huh? Okay. And what people are going to notice that you did that switch in the makam. That's what you're thinking, huh? All right, that's all the people are going to be talking about. Matana. The Leviim are a special people. They're a special group of individuals. They're closer to Hashem. You assign them the proper tasks that they deserve because they deserve those tasks. I'm not giving them to you in that sense of Baminan, a slave. I'm giving them to you as Leviim. They're a matana, matan Torah. I remember when I was young, and this is like maybe not connected, but it is connected. There was a Kohen Meyuchas. My father used to go to the Knesset of Rav Shlosh in Netanya. And, Rav Shlosh was a great Talmid Chacham. They used to invite my father to speak. There was once an event where Rav Shlosh, he published a book and he invited all the the rabbis in Israel to the event. And then the chief rabbi, I don't want to say his name, it's such nonsense. He called up Rav Shlosh. He found that my father was going to be speaking there. He says, no, he can't be there. Or I'm not coming, said the chief rabbi. Rav Shlosh told him, don't come. He didn't come anyway. My father had tremendous anava, and I want to tell you the story. So I was in the Knesset of Rav Shlosh, and there was a Kohen Meyuchas, some Kohanim that Meyuchasim, by the way. My grandfather, Alav Shalom, from my mother's side, was a Kohen Meyuchas. He was in the Galil, in a city of Kohanim from Bayit Sheni. So Mamash Kohen Meyuchas. So there's some Kohanim Meyuchasim. And my father once told the Kohen, he went up to the Torah, the Kohen, and he told him Chazaku Baruch, and he was one of the leaders of the community, this Kohen, one of the founders of the Knesset. And my father told him that when I was young, it struck me as odd because I didn't understand. And he said something along the following lines. He said, Yehi Ratzon, that my children should be zochim to serve your children in the Bet HaMikdash. So first of all, when I heard that, I was like, wow, what anava! Like this is not regular anava for one person to speak to another person like that. But then as I got older, I understood what a zechut it is that the Leviim are a matana for the Kohanim, right? The Kohanim are not going to choose, Hashem is not going to choose anybody to be that matana. He chose the Leviim, right? So I think it's a special Perashat Qorah, and it's a special relationship, the relationship between the Kohanim and the Leviim.